A dam collapsed in Brazil, releasing a deadly river of mud on a nearby town.
Welcome to Plain English, the podcast that goes at the right speed for English language learners. Listen now and read the transcript online at plainenglish.com. Now, here's Jeff, your host for today's episode.
The collapse of a tailings dam in Brazil has left over 100 people dead after a mass of mud buried portions of a town near the city of Belo Horizonte.
Hi everyone, this is not Jeff, but this is JR. Welcome back to Play English, episode number 127 for Thursday, February 7th, 2019. Another amazing episode written by our special host, Jeff, who comes with us every week with interesting episodes and positive energy every Monday and Thursday. On behalf of all your listeners and myself, thank you, Jeff. Please, don't fire me for editing the audio without letting you know.
Full transcripts and translations, like always, are available on the website. Today's episode can be found at plainenglish.com/127. I'm Jeff. As always, the show is produced by JR, producer extraordinaire. As I've said before, without JR editing the audio and pushing it out to all the podcast directories, I'd just be sitting in my closet talking to myself. Instead, I'm sitting in my closet talking to all of you, which is so much fun. Don't forget to sign up to get the show emails by visiting plainenglish.com/mail, M-A-I-L. And if you prefer to be in touch by WhatsApp, you can send me a WhatsApp note to +1 312 967 8757. I've gotten a lot of great feedback on WhatsApp over the last week, and I wanted to thank all of you that connected with us on there. Before we start with the main content, I wanted to correct something that I think I didn't get quite right in last Thursday's episode about Venezuela. As you may remember, in episode 125, Juan Guaidó, the elected leader of the National Assembly, has laid a claim to the Venezuelan presidency. And in the episode, I said that he symbolically took the oath of office. And the way it sounded, now that I look back on it, is that this was a type of protest or a way of attracting attention, but it is actually more than that. The Venezuelan Constitution says that if the presidency is vacant, that is to say, if there is no elected president, then the leader of the National Assembly is the president. Guaidó's contention is that Maduro's election was illegitimate, that it wasn't really an election at all because it was not free and fair. It was widely considered to be a fraud. So, since there was no legitimate election for president under the country's constitution, he, as the leader of the National Assembly, is the rightful president. And so he is actually asserting a legitimate claim to be president. It's not just a form of protest. And it is on that basis that the other countries have recognized him as Venezuela's rightful president. So I wanted to make that clear before we start today's episode. A mining dam collapsed in the town of Brumadinho near the city of Belo Horizonte in Brazil. It unleashed a deadly river of poisonous mud that covered parts of the town of Brumadinho, destroying everything in its path. And a new video shows the destruction unfolding in real time. You can see the mud rushing along a path, covering houses and commercial buildings in toxic mud. In one part of the video, you can see vehicles trying to escape, but being covered in the sludge. This was one of the worst mining disasters in Brazil's history, and as of last weekend, it had left 115 people dead, with another 238 missing. The company responsible for the dam, Vale, has promised to compensate families of victims and has promised to cooperate in investigations. Contractors who had inspected the dam recently and certified its safety have been arrested. The government has promised a full investigation. Already, there are allegations that the company, Vale, could have foreseen this type of disaster and that they built the dam with only cost savings in mind. The type of dam involved was a tailings dam, and it's different from what you might be imagining on a river. The kinds of dams you most commonly see are used to either generate electricity, those are hydroelectric dams, or to control flooding. Those dams interrupt a river's flow, and the operator adjusts the flow of a river to control flooding and the water levels downstream. This one was different. This was a dam used to contain tailings, which are essentially the bits of mud, earth, and water left over after valuable minerals have been extracted from the earth. I, personally, didn't know until today that this type of dam existed, but they are some of the biggest man-made structures on Earth. As companies dig for minerals such as gold, iron ore, copper, and such, they separate out the valuable bits, but then they need to store all the material that they discard in the process of finding those valuable metals. And that stuff that's left over, those are the tailings, and mining companies gradually build dams to contain them. And unlike dams on a river, for example, which open and close and let water through, these tailings dams are meant to just contain the muddy sludge of discarded earth that is the byproduct of mining operations. They are never meant to open or close. So, as bad as a flood normally is, a collapsed tailings dam is much worse. It's not just water and dirt that's released. It's a toxic mixture of all kinds of metals and materials that used to be buried deep below the Earth's surface, and it's very poisonous. The dam that collapsed released 12 million cubic meters of mud and debris. It covered all the mining buildings nearby, and part of the town of Brumadinho. The video showing a rush of sludge through the town is disturbing. There's no way for any of the people to escape it. It's thick, poisonous sludge, and it just covered and buried anyone and everything that was in its way. In addition to the human lives lost, the rivers and waterways in the area are now poisoned. The nearby Parles-tu River has turned to a dark color, and local villagers can no longer fish or bathe in it. The dead fish are rising to the surface, poisoned from the material released from the dam. Now, attention is turning to how this could have happened in the first place. The government has already arrested 5 people, including 3 employees and 2 contractors. Allegations have surfaced that Vale cut corners in the construction of the dam in order to build it at the lowest possible cost. That is, unfortunately, a not uncommon occurrence when building tailings dams. Because these dams are not used in the production for mining companies, they tend to be a lower priority. So many mining companies try to save money on these, especially in parts of the world with less strict regulation. Vale has also said that it will close 19 tailings dams in the area and that it would suspend mining activity in Minas Gerais. It has also promised to pay 100,000 reais in compensation to the families of victims. This comes just 3 years after a similar type of dam burst in 2015 in what was then considered the worst environmental tragedy in Brazil's history. Vale was involved in that disaster too. It was ordered to pay millions of reais in damages, but only a small portion was actually paid out. I want to say hi and thank you to Julio and his girlfriend Marjorie from the city of Cotia, Brazil. He said a lot of people in Cotia listen to Plain English, which is fantastic. So a big hello and thank you to Julio, Marjorie, and all the other listeners in Cotia. Julio and another listener, Michael from Poa near Sao Paulo, both suggested today's topic, so thank you for that. By the way, the one thing I never realized until just this week is that a lot of you listen in your families. I heard from several people who listen with their husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend, and I think that's really cool. I haven't mentioned Moça Língua in a while, but I wanted to mention once again that we have a great partnership with Moça Língua. This is an innovative new language learning company, and one of their biggest offerings is English language programs. It's all online, and you can take courses, build your vocabulary, work on your pronunciation. It's all there at Moça Língua. They even have some free apps. So check out plainenglish.com/learn, Learn, learn. It's fun, it's interactive, it's all online, and millions of people have tried it before you, including me. I use it in Spanish, and it has really helped. You guys know that I travel, and obviously I do the podcast, so it's hard to fit in some time to study with my busy schedule. But it's easy to study for just a few minutes at a time with Mosalingua. And at least that way, I feel like I'm making a little progress every day. So if that sounds good to you, check out once more plainenglish.com/learn. The word I want to tell you about today is unfold, but not in the sense that you probably already know it. The way you probably know it is like you fold a piece of paper in half, and then you unfold it. You fold a pair of pants to put them in your dresser, then you unfold them when you're ready to put them on again. That's not what I'm talking about in this case. In this case, when you say events unfold or a disaster unfolds, it means more like events happen slowly and you see them step by step. In the original context, I said that a new video shows the destruction unfolding in real time. That means that the video shows the destruction happening step by step. You can see the huge dam start to shake, then the face of it start to fall, then collapse. Next, you see the river of mud rushing into the town, and then tragically, you can see it flood over vehicles that were trying to escape. So you can see the situation developing gradually. You can see the events unfold on video in real time. If you're watching a basketball game and one team does really well, you might say that you watched the drama unfold on the basketball court. You watched it develop. You watched it happen step by step. In a movie or a play, you might be watching and wondering how events are going to unfold as the story progresses. It's common to say that events unfold before your eyes, or unfold before your very eyes, when you want to stress that someone would see things happen step by step. It's very dramatic to say it that way. If you go to a magic show, the magician might promise that you'll see magic unfold before your very eyes. That's something a showman might say to promote the show. Come see the magic unfold before your very eyes. It's also possible to use unfold when talking about something complicated or dramatic, even if you're not watching it. Those of you in Brazil watched as an enormous scandal unfolded over several years, the car wash scandal. How are the next steps on Brexit going to unfold? What are the steps? What's the sequence of events? How is it going to happen? How is the second half of Trump's presidency going to unfold? Is it going to be the same as the first half? Will he change his tactics as he starts thinking about re-election? How is he going to work with the opposition party in Congress? How is the second half of his presidency going to unfold? That's the question. Okay, that's all for today's episode. Don't forget our partner Mosalingua at plainenglish.com/learn. And the newest way to connect with us via WhatsApp is +1 312 967 8757. Oh, coming up on Monday, the polar vortex. A lot of you who connected on WhatsApp wanted to know how I survived the super cold in Chicago. Well, I hate to admit it, but I actually wasn't here for it. I was in New York. But the super cold made big news around the world, and of course it was a big deal here. So that will be what we talk about on Monday. See you then.